welcome to the Nen Show Podcast, and we're here. Yeah.
And you're there.
I'm your host, Craftsdwarf, and this is Mathwiz, as per usual. We're still here, still reading Bleach. I think we're about halfway done now. Yeah, this is part 5 of 9. Yeah.
Wow, we're like,
cool.
Wow. Bleach is going by fast.
I mean, we only read, 9, 10 volumes? this time? Oh, boy. I probably shouldn't have read it all at once.
No, I feel you too. I was feeling that. See, I realized, it's not that I realized it, but I've kind of brought this up before, but more so here. Yeah, this arc was or not this arc, but this stretch was Kubo, let the action breathe. I can't, I'm getting battle fatigue and I'm not even in the fights.
So anyway, before we get into comments, I missed a teleport last time, I think. Ichigo teleporting behind Grimjo in their fight, because I had to, there's a lot of teleports that happen this stretch of chapters. So, anyway, but before we'll get into those, comments. Did you have any comments?
I see one here from SSJ Shinigami, talking about the second Ichigo Grimjo fight, and how there were 3 times in a row where a character showed up at the last minute to make a save. Ichigo was gonna die, and then Rukia showed up to save him, but then Rukia was gonna die, and then Shinji showed up to save her, and it was
I mean, yeah, I guess it's a little repetitive, but as a trope of the last minute save, it's so common I don't even notice. Basically, it's just whatever. It doesn't bother me, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. But I mean, maybe two or 3 times.
Yeah, for that one, it certainly felt kind of excessive, because it's bang, bang, bang. Because there's all these big things that are seemingly going to happen, and then it's someone shows up, and it was all over the stretch of just a few chapters, and it's Kubo, calm down a little bit. I get you want to get all your characters involved, but just to dial it back a little.
Yep. So one thing a few people pointed out, including SSJ Shinigami and the Heyo, was that Loopy, the character who died last time, the octopus, was actually a guy. And I'm
yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Well, we make mistakes. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think this isn't the first time I've fucked up with the gender. Or kind of. Well, Yoriichi was purposefully weird. Someone asked, or MCEP Bros asked about the Tatsuki image I was talking about last time. It's on the screen. There it is. Look at her. She's good, but she never got this because I don't know. She never rest in peace. I mean, I guess if she became a Soul Reaper, she would have had to die. So yeah, I guess rest in peace after all.
Yeah, when we'll get to our favorite characters in the series, Tatsuki is going to be an honorary mention of could have been a cool character, had a cool premise, and just got shafted. Whether that's just because that first arc got shortened or what happened.
Yeah. Speaking of that, a lot of people mentioned how, I guess Bleach didn't get canceled, but rather Kubo was having some health issues, so he decided to end it when he did, but it still was ended before he intended it to end. So, yeah. Oh well. I guess we'll get to that when we get to it, so...
Well, I guess that's better, because I know the anime got canceled, but at least if he got to end the manga on his own terms, that's certainly better than it being canceled.
Right, though it's still unfortunate that it ended before it was intended to, even though he did get to end it. So
that too.
Did you have more comments? Because I have a couple more.
I forget who was the one who sent it, because I don't have it in front of me, but when we talked about we're gonna be seeing more Orihime, or Orihime is gonna have more to do in this next stretch, and then the person just linked the timestamp when we said that and just started laughing hysterically.
Yeah, there was because that's the thing, we haven't read Bleach, so I know some of the memes, but we haven't read it, so we can only guess. So I think, I don't know, I feel like the comment section this time has been more relaxed, because when we fuck up, they're oh, well, you haven't read Bleach, so you fucked up. And it's oh, okay, but with Naruto, we thought we knew more than we did, so we were much more confident in thinking that Naruto fucked up when we did. So we were what the fuck, this is stupid. And it's well, no, it's not actually stupid, you're stupid. And we're oh, yeah. So that hasn't been happening as much as we're more aware of what we don't know, basically. So.
And then there was another one of those laughing instances where our Sasuke guy, he
here comes Hitsugaya.
Said that for
yeah.
the characters, like characters getting brought back because of popularity. He's like, get ready for this, 'cause
we did get another popularity poll. So yeah. Okay, so there was a comment thread by Liable Punchline Dispenser, and he had some issues with Ishin, Ichigo's dad, the reveal of the Soul Reaper. Like, I thought it was well foreshadowed well enough. But it does bring up the question of, he didn't do anything during the first arc. Like, he was a Soul Reaper. He had the capability to stop all the hollows, but he never did anything. Do you take issue with that in retrospect? Because, I don't know, I can see him not wanting to get involved with fucking Soul Society. They're not exactly the most morally upright guys. I don't know how closely he was keeping tabs on things, but Ichigo was more than capable of taking care of himself. And he kind of admits he's not a great dad, like he was talking with Ishida's dad about how, they're both kind of shit, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I never really thought about it, so it doesn't really matter.
I was thinking about it a little bit reading through it, but of course I couldn't say anything because it hadn't been revealed yet. I only knew because I'd been spoiled ages ago. But, and I guess the other thing is he's kind of got it, like, after he took down Grand Fisher, he was, he never really resented him for killing his wife because he's like, hollows do as hollows do. Like, he just kind of, they're monsters. They just do their own thing. So, yeah, I don't know. And I guess speaking of Grand Fisher, my last comment, DJ Mega Aim said that, I guess people thought the Grand Fisher stuff was anticlimactic, and Ichigo never learned about it, and I don't know, I don't think I have a problem with Ichigo not learning about it, because, again, it's
it's not like it's one of those conflicts, like, it's not like it's a Naruto Sasuke thing or whatever, where Naruto's always like, oh, I have to, Sasuke's like always at like the front or somewhere in his mind. With Grand Fisher, it seemed like Ichigo had kind of moved on, like, you don't hear him saying like, oh, I gotta get revenge on that Grand Fisher guy. Right,
the takeaway wasn't, like, it's Grand Fisher specifically, it's just his need to protect. And that keeps coming back, so it's fine. And as far as the anticlimactic thing goes, it's like I think that worked for the fight, because as for reasons I went into before. So yeah, I don't have an issue with the Grand Fisher thing. I thought it was good even. So probably better than most of the things that have in this stretch of chapters. Like, I didn't dislike the stretch of chapters, but I definitely liked it less than the last stretch of chapters, which is unfortunate. But getting in, or wait, were you done with questions too?
Yep, I'm good.
Alright, cool. So, because they get it there, they infiltrated Hueco Mundo, and they pretty much immediately get attacked by some low-ranking Arrancars, and we get a bit more explanation of their deal. Like, they talk about how, like, less humanoid Arrancars are just weaker ones, like, and then we also get a bit of, Chad and Ishida sort of showing off their powers, sort of, which is good because they're going to be getting into fights later. So, did you have any thoughts about this little encounter?
All I will say is that the first 20 chapters did really nothing for me. Or I should say, like, the first 20 chapters of this stretch, like, those opening fights were just... I kind of blanked. I was not interested at all.
Well,
it
like
felt
I
like
said,
we were kind of
establishing.
Like, I don't want to say that we were backtracking, but like we kind of went from what was it? We ended off with like the second Grimmjow fight, and Ichigo was kind of taking it to him, and then these were like lower ranking guys, and I guess I don't know. Well, something about like, it just didn't really interest me, and the fights were kind of goofy, and I don't know.
I don't know about goofy, but well, it's like the way I put it is like, okay, when was the last time Chad and Ishida got a fight? Soul Society. How long ago was that? Like, it's especially since Ishida's got his abilities back and Chad is trained up. Like, I don't know. I think it's fine to. It's that. I mean, if I had a gripe, it's that maybe like they're getting stuff established here, but we're still learning new things about their powers later. Like Chad's strong, but later on we find out more about his powers, and he's pulling abilities out that he hadn't before. And now I think about it, I'm not sure why he wouldn't. Because as we find out later, his arm that he has had before is a shield, but then his training he got an offensive arm. So my question is, why wasn't he using the offensive arm in an offensive situation? Like, he could have just, I don't know, it would have been easier Just saying, like, maybe there's a weakness to it, but not majorly well established. Like, I guess that's if I had an issue with that, it's that it's just kind of like, I guess that's with Kubo's thing, it's like he wants to keep up tensions, and he does it by having characters hide their powers, which I think worked in Soul Society, because at least that, like, oh, I understand why this character isn't showing up hiding their powers. But in this case, I'm not sure if it's... Like, maybe Ishida, I can see it, because he's kind of like that, but Chad, I don't see why he would... I mean, I guess I don't know, he talks about being nice, but, like, they're here to save Orihime, so, I don't know.
I mean, like, the opening fight, I guess, wasn't so bad, because the 2-on-2, even though it was basically just 2 one-on-one fights happening simultaneously in the same place. But
they swapped around
the 2-on-2 dynamic was a little more interesting than... I think it's the stuff that came after this, where they start branching off into the one-on-ones again, where it was just kind of... felt a little tedious, but this one wasn't so bad.
Alright, I guess we can move on then. So anyway, they get out, and they go into the desert to reach Hueco Mundo proper, and we get a shot of all the espadas, all just chilling in their chairs, being dark bad guys in white. And of course, Aizen shows up.
See, I like the little line he had where he's like, "We've been invaded, but first, some tea."
He just doesn't give a fuck at all. Well, I mean, as we find out later, everything's going according to plan. Like, the whole idea was to bait people in. Like, he knows Ichigo. He knows that, like, he went into fucking Soul Society, a place he knew nothing about, to save Rukia. So it totally makes sense that... Because he didn't even care who Ulquiorra captured. It just happened to be... Well, he was interested in Orihime's powers. I'm pretty sure he said that it didn't... He suggested Orihime, or he talked about her powers, but I don't think he cared about... who specific, because it didn't matter who he grabbed specifically, because now that we know his plan, like, it's really kind of a simple plan, you know. It's it just went perfect for him. It's because he managed to trap so many people in Hueco Mundo. So, and
also I just like the whole aspect of that not really a reintroduction, but just with all the espadas sitting around the table, like, just picturing someone like Grimjow just sitting there drinking tea with Aizen and all.
Especially Grimjow, because he's like the most wild one. So it's like, but Aizen expresses his dominance. Like, Grimjow's like, "I'm gonna fight," and Aizen's like, "No." So anyway, we're back to the guys going through the desert, and there was a weird bit here where they're talking about all the spirit, the reishi, the spirit energy in the atmosphere, and he goes out of his way to say that it's not helpful to Soul Reapers, even though that was my explanation for why they were able to take so much damage before, and it's not consistent with Rukia getting her powers back, so it's just like, I didn't need this scene. I mean, it's nice to know that there's all the reishi in the air, but I'm just like, did he really have to go out of his way to say that's not helping Ichigo? Like, I guess because he's so strong that he needs to limit him somehow, but...
Yeah, because I thought that was why Rukia was able to get her powers back, was because of all the spirit energy and maybe there's something else going on, that we'll find out later. I thought he had, like, outright explained that in this stretch of chapters.
The previous stretch, when he talked about when Rukia came back with her powers, she was like, "Here's how I got my powers back." And so the question is that actually how she got her powers back, or is that just how she thinks she got her powers back? Or, as Ishida said, maybe she's just weird, which is fine. I'm okay with Rukia being weird. She's cute. I'll let it slide. I don't know. I don't need that much explanation for what's happening, Though sometimes it, like, I don't know, there was some interesting stuff going on with Rukia later when she had her Espada battle. That we'll talk about that later. But that was pretty cool. But so anyway, we get introduced to some new characters. Nell and a bunch of her friends, and Nell is adorable. Because small, tiny girls are always adorable. Oh, wait.
If you say so.
I will destroy you.
Yeah, I didn't particularly care for Nell. I mean, she was fine. I didn't have any problems with her, but it's not like the same, like, Yachiru sort of like, "Oh my god, that's cute." It's just kind of there.
She does things later. I mean, I kind of knew that she'd become a real girl, basically. I didn't know she was a former Espada, but... So, I don't know, I guess... when it happened, were you just like, "Oh, this is happening," Or did you know about it too? Or
Well, I didn't know about it, but it kind of made sense because the big scar on her face.
yeah,
That's a little
the cracked
suspicious.
mask. Yeah, that's fair. And that was yeah. But yeah, she explained. She's kind of there for exposition on the. She's able to talk about how things work and also I guess she kind of paints a different picture of like Hueco Mundo. Like you think it's this bad place, this anti-soul society, but then you get these fucking goofballs, these goofball Arrancars, who continue being goofballs throughout the arc, and it's like because they're more monsters, so they're more hollow-like. Oh, I didn't think about that because Nell's more human, so obviously something's up there. Yeah, I didn't think about that. But even these very hollow-like Arrancars are able to be reasonable and chill. So, yeah, cool. World building. Oh, yeah, they fight like a dude. Oh, what? Oh, they get the sand guy, and they get saved by Rukia and Renji. I thought this was interesting because Rukia and Ichigo had a bit of an interaction where she was kind of disappointed that he just rushed in. Like, he was like, you guys, how'd you guys get here? And then Rukia's like, well, of course we're gonna fucking try and save Orihime. Like, what the fuck did you think? So, what did you think of that?
I mean, yeah, that was interesting that Ichigo kind of ran in ahead and just kind of assumed that nobody from the Soul Society was going to come help them, when obviously, of course Rukia would help, and if Rukia's going to go, then of course Renji would go, and I don't know, it made sense. It was interesting.
Well, yeah, and then we find out that Byakuya even like, well, I was just, told to bring you back, but I wasn't told to keep you here. Like, he's making concessions in his, or like he's no longer the hard ass who was fighting against him at Soul Society. He's recognized his failure in doing that and is now being a normal person.
Yeah, I'd say that was the most interesting part about the whole thing. Although this does remind me of there was a comment in not the last episode, but like the one before that I forgot to address that I had meant to. Regarding the whole Byakuya Renji fight, how Renji Byakuya goes in and he says that he's not gonna, that Renji's fangs would never reach him, but then obviously Renji is able to deal some damage, and Byakuya doesn't really, I guess, like, he had gone in so confident, and then, he was proven wrong, but he didn't really react, like, he didn't really change, or his composure wasn't really, disrupted or anything because of that, but maybe, as this arc was kind of going along, maybe we're getting to see a little more behind the mask, that who is Byakuya. So, I don't know, maybe that would kind of explain.
Yeah, like, it's interesting
why
put it that way, because he is very confident, but when that confidence is shattered, like, he's not so prideful as to be broken when his, when he turns out to be wrong. Like, just the whole thing with Ichigo, like, he was fighting Ichigo, he was like, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, and he surrenders, and like that's not because that's the thing is that like the Soul Reapers, even in the Soul, like they were going to be, I'm pretty sure they were probably planned to be allies eventually from the beginning, so they were antagonists for sure, but obviously they were presented with a bit more nuance than that, because like look, now they're allies, they're even fucking Kurosuchi, that was surprising. His dumb fucking hairstyle, and he's just like helping, arguably, but he's helping. It's like fucking Kurosuchi. Oh man. But yeah, it's just a little bit of Byakuya, but it's a little bit more of Byakuya. So yeah. So anyway, Ulquiorra talks to Orihime a bit, just sort of like driving home that she's stuck there as everyone breaks in. Oh yeah, I just realized, because I think the Espada, I don't know if they knew the gang was there immediately, but they were able to change corridors and stuff, so they might have arranged, well, no, maybe not this early, but, there were 5 entryways, 5 people, so they're like, okay, let's split up. Well, they have an argument about it. But, gotta get those one. See, I prefer this method because there's the trope of, like, the group is, so, like, the only other way to handle this would be, like, if you want one-on-one fights, is the group of 5 is traveling and then they encounter one bad guy and it's like, go ahead, I'll hold him back. And then the other 4 go ahead and then there's another guy, go ahead, I'll hold them back. Fucking Yu Yu Hakusho definitely does that at least once.
Then that was basically the Sasuke retrieval arc.
Yes, that's a better example because we actually know it. Right, that's exactly the thing. Though I think in the Sasuke retrieval arc it was a little bit more organic than that, but I don't. It's been a while, and the arc wasn't great, so maybe not. But yeah,
Well, that was. I mean, the Sasuke retrieval arc was a little different because it was a group of 5 or whatever chasing down a group of 5 or 4 technically.
4, but a fifth came in later, and they had a fifth in the pot. So, yeah. But and this is an infiltration, so it makes sense that they. They talk about it. They split up, and you're gonna get your one-on-one fights anyway. So why hide it with a silly I'll hold them back. Go ahead, like that kind of thing. So I was fine with it. They split up, but they promised to come back alive. And Nell's group splits up too to follow them. Oh yeah, we get a little scene with Orihime, a flashback with Aizen, where he basically just showed her the whole Gyoku for because he felt like it. So I feel like, well, he said that he needs Orihime, and she resolves that she wants to destroy the whole Gyoku. Here we fucking go again. So we haven't seen the payoff to that yet, but it would be nice to see Orihime doing something. Because her power, it would make sense that she'd be able to do it because she can do anything. I don't know if she can do anything, but her power is weird, so I could accept it doing many things. So it's a setup. But the other thing to it is that Aizen specifically showed it to Orihime. So, and this is fucking Aizen we're talking about. So, did he know what her reaction would be? Like, did he know that she would want to destroy it and still help her friends even though she was stuck in Hueco Mundo? Like, it's not. I guess we'll find out next stretch of chapters because Aizen's a big, planny, smart boy. So yeah, Nell follows Ichigo, and Ichigo meets Dordoni, the Arrancar. As we find out, he's a former Espada, so he's strong.
Yeah, this was the fight that I didn't particularly care for.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about it because so yeah, he proves to be stronger than Ichigo thought, and then everyone else is kind of getting into their encounters too. But I guess we'll talk about the Dordoni fight first. I guess what I took from it, well, what I noticed was that he was Ichigo said, I'll beat you without using my Bankai because he needs to get stronger. He needs to make sure he's strong. But then once Nell was in danger, he was willing to go against that personal vow. Like he went against his personal vow out of a desire to protect someone. So I noticed that. I don't know if I have anything to say about it, but I noticed it. Trying to think of what else happens in the fight. Oh yeah, I kept using fucking Spanish. And I was like, I mean, I guess that kept happening throughout the arc. But he seems to be the one who uses it most in his language. And I was a little, like, what? I don't know if a lot of Spanish. Oh, there's a teleport. Dordoni teleports behind Ichigo because they're fast. But yeah, Ichigo puts in all of his effort. He wins. It sure was a fight. You're right, there's not much to say.
Nope.
Oh yeah, well, actually, now I think about it, after the fight, he said something interesting, because he gets healed by Nell, and he tries to fight Ichigo again, and he says that wounded is a state of the spirit, so, like, when you have the will to fight, physical injuries mean nothing. So that's basically Kubo directly saying, like, don't think about it when it comes to how injured the characters are. So, how do you think about that? Because he's basically saying, Mathwiz, shut the fuck, no.
Well, I mean, it's fine because like by this point, all the characters have proven to be as durable as they are. So I've come to terms with it.
But anyway, as Ichigo runs away after some guys come to kill Dordoni, I guess, and he impresses on Ichigo the need to sort of become a demon and like fight. Because Ichigo, he used his holification to win when he didn't really need to. And so Dordoni notes that weakness in him. And I don't know, it's like, I'm not sure what else I should take from that. Like, I just feel like I'm missing something when it comes to Bleach. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think if there's supposed to be, if there's something deeper here, I'm definitely not getting it. And maybe that's why I'm not enjoying maybe that's why I wasn't enjoying this part of the arc as much. Something's just going over my head, maybe.
Yeah, like it seems interesting, but I'm like, I don't get it yet. So I'd hope that talking would fix something, but maybe it'd help if I had the rest of the arc in my mind. Like, this not having the whole arc is hurting me. So anyway, we could Ishida versus the fucking what's her name? The fucking chick. Sander Wiki, I guess. I like this fight a bit better, I think. Would you well, because it's also Ishida also had the what's his face? The fucking beetle dude with the his infinite slip juice that's not actually infinite at all. Like, this fucking idiot.
Yeah, I guess I like this one more than the Ichigo one, but I also didn't care for it that much.
Well, it's like, it kind of had the thing I was talking about earlier, because like earlier you established Ishida's stuff again, but then he has a sword that he uses that he hadn't before, and now I'm like, wait, was there a reason you couldn't use the sword? Like he tries to fight it, like maybe there's a weakness to it that I forgot. I mean, the fact that it was also like he used it as an arrow, that was fine, because he's like, oh, all Quincy weapons are, bow and arrow, but like I don't know why he was holding it back. But yeah, I guess there's not much to say after that. So, I don't know. At least I don't have much more to say. She was kind of hot, and now she's dead. Oh well.
Is she dead, though? I know he spared her. He just took away the powers.
He should have spared her. The guys, the guys in the masks, the horned dudes, who also took out Dordoni.
Oh, so they were killing them off. Okay.
Yeah, he said, "We've come for you, ma'am. Please don't struggle," as he's drawing his sword. And then she curses, and then it cuts away to Chad. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're dead. I mean, Bleach dead, which means maybe they're not dead. I didn't think about that. The implication is that they're dead, but I don't know what to think. But yeah, Chad. See, it's like they're just they're establishing more of their capabilities, but I feel like shouldn't they have I feel like a good fight happens when both characters have established capabilities and they're just fighting with those established capabilities. Like, it's not super interesting when a character suddenly uses something that's new and then because Chad, he's like, okay, I've got my shield and I got my sword, and then he wins. So that's like Ishida, he's got his sword and then he wins as he's explaining it, so there's no room for any change. Like, it's not like if we knew the ability beforehand, then we'd get to see its unique aspects appear in the fight, and maybe get there'd be some cool twist to it. But instead, it's just like, if we're learning as it goes, then we don't really there's no real arc to it aside from character reveals that they have thing and they use thing and then they win. It's like,
Maybe that's why I didn't care about these fights as much, because why didn't they just show them off in the 2-on-2 that happened earlier? Right, that's
kind of what I was getting at earlier a bit, where that's like, yeah, they're establishing their abilities, but they really didn't establish their ability, because now they're still establishing stuff, but it's not helping the fights any. Well, because Chad even gets into a fight, right? Noitora shows up and wrecks Chad immediately. So even though he's got his shield, it didn't matter because the shield gets cut through, and then he's fucked, and I don't think we've seen him again. He's just gone. So it's like, okay, it was cool to see Chad doing something.
This has been kind of a recurring thing, is that it's like our main character person looks strong, another person shows up and beats them immediately. Especially so far that has just been Chad, and maybe that's what when he gets his own arc, maybe that'll be addressed. But it's just
maybe
spending all that time on it, and I don't know, it's repetitive, not very interesting.
But anyway, after this we get a much more interesting encounter, because I was reading it and I had no fucking clue what was going on. Rukia and Arrancar, the guy who looked like Cayenne, and this threw me for a fucking loop, because I know the rule that no one dies in Bleach. So I was like, wait, is this actually Cayenne? This explanation is a little much, but is it? And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I was on constantly doubting the truth. I was I couldn't decide whether or not Cayenne was alive or not. I was so confused.
Yeah, this was where, because like my pattern with Bleach has been we'll finish a reading session and I'll be interested in it. Start the next one and I'm not. But this was like this fight was where it pulled me back in because
well, it's Rukia.
This I assume this was the fight that Sasuke, the great Sasuke defender.
Yes, because he did mention that Rukia gets some good fights here, and this was a good fight because you had Rukia. Our fucking girl going up against an actual Espada, not one of those pretenders like Dordoni or whatever the fuck. Not those lame. This is guys in. Well, they mentioned he's like a first generation Espada, and he's also one of the weaker. Like he's from the Gilliam or something like that. So yeah, he's still weaker, but he's still an Espada. So
yeah.
But
and
yeah,
plus,
it's like the whole time. Go on.
Well, yeah, you were talking about not knowing whether it was Kaien or not, and I really like that whole mind games aspect of it because it started off where Rukia was all surprised and happy because look, it's Kaien Shiba, but then he's what did he say first? He's like I have to kill you or whatever, and she's like what?
Oh yeah,
but then he's like
he stabs her or he tries to kill her, and because he's like come with me, and she's like yeah, and then she gets fucking sliced and. It's just like, what the fuck's going on?
She's like, wait. Yeah, and then he's like, he goes back to being Kaien for a bit. He's like, no, okay, I won't actually kill you because, we have history, blah, blah, blah. We care about each other, etc.
But kill your friends. And it's just like it just constantly had me guessing. I was completely, I couldn't just, because it's interesting because, like, you expect the character to come back to life, so you don't know if they're going to come back to life or not. Like, Kaien ultimately is dead, but that doubt is what had, like, it's interesting how he's using the fact that characters come back to life in Shounen to make this weird fucking encounter where I had no fucking clue what to believe, which is perfect for a dude who deals in illusions. Like, that's good.
Yeah, it really puts you in Rukia's shoes, because, like, whoa, what the fuck is this guy... Is he Kaien? Is he not? What's happening?
Well, because he keeps flip-flopping between the goofball Kaien-looking guy and then some fucking cold, sinister motherfucker, and it's just like constantly putting you like, what the fuck's like? It's just it's good. It's so good. And then Rukia finishes, or she uses his weakness of the sun, and she like blows through the walls, and she figures him out, and she manages to uncover his identity. And I don't know, it was good. This was a good fight. And then
even after like the identity change, it's like, okay, so I can kill you because you're not Kaien, but then the dude's like, oh, but I kind of am Kaien still.
Well, he has because he has his memories, and he's still trying to fuck with her, and then he's got all the powers to, like, he's a hollow who takes all the powers from other hollows, which means. Well, he even says that he has the highest potential, and the thing is that, like, power stealing and copying is always the most powerful ability, like, to the point where it's like, how do you even stop it? So, but in this case,
I don't know. There's that one classmate in My Hero Academia who has a copy ability. He's not so hot.
But he probably has the highest potential to be hot. I don't know. I haven't read Hero Academia in a while, so.
I'm just messing with you.
I don't know what's going on. But yeah, there was also a bit of an idea this fight about the heart, which is a Bleach meme I'm well aware of, because I know we're not done with this idea of the heart. Well, because they talk about Rukia, or Kaien's idea of the heart is sort of like it's a bond between two people, and so even though Kaien's dead, Rukia still has his heart and what she took from him, and. So even though she's fighting this faker, she's able to sort of like, because she beats him by stabbing him in the face, like in the appearance of Kaien, because she's able to accept that Kaien's the only part of him that matters now that he's gone is what is in her, not this fake him that she's fighting. So yeah.
And that was a really cool poetic, not poetic, but what's the word I'm looking for? It was just a really cool way to wrap up the fight.
Yeah. So, but I guess minor spoiler, but later on there's a page, a whole page, mind, that's completely white, except for the text, the heart. So I know this moment's going to get called back to later, and that page is kind of infamous as a meme, just because it's a whole page with just two words on it. And it's just like, okay, I don't know why it's a meme. Maybe it might even be the type of thing that makes sense in context. But they kept mentioning the heart during the conversation. I was just like, oh, I know this one, this famous meme. So yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. But anyway, while they were fighting, because I guess we're done with Rukia versus Arrancar. I don't have anything more to say about it, at least.
Neither do I.
Okay, because while that happened, Renji met Grants, the science Espada, the 8th one. And this guy's a fucking character. I mean, he's kind of like an Arrancar version of Kurasuchi, almost, which makes it really appropriate that they fight later. So, yeah, Renji tussles with Grants for a bit, but then Ulquiorra comes down and meets Ichigo. He sort of tells her that he's going around telling everyone that everyone's dead, more to fuck with them, like, even though they're not. Like, what a dick. He's like, oh yeah, Ichigo, Rukia's dead. And it's like, of course she's not. But Ichigo doesn't know that.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of thing I'm fine with, like, saying, oh, the character is dead, but, I mean, of course, that's like the twisted perspective thing, like, he's just trying to mess with them, trying to get inside their heads. So that like, saying, in that case, like, they're dead, but, of course, they're not really dead, like, that's fine, I don't have any issues with that.
Right, well, it all depends on who you're hearing it from, like, if it was, like, someone who was right by their body, and they had no reason to pretend that they were dead, like, that's someone you'd want to listen to. But then, like, in this case, it's like, we don't see the body, it's a villain telling it to the hero to fuck with them. Like, yeah, it's, if you actually thought Rukia was dead because Ulquiorra said so, then you're like, it's like, she was fine, she was conscious last we saw, or, she was weakened, but she didn't die. So it's like, yeah, I wouldn't have accepted it as, like, oh, she's dead. Like, no, not from his word like that.
Oh, also, there was one little bit that I forgot about. Right before she seemingly kind of, like, passed out or whatever, before we cut away from her, there was a neat little connection she made to Orihime, where she said, like, talking about how she was captured in the Soul Society and how she knows what it's like to go through that experience. And that's why, like, she had that extra resolve to, she wanted to go over and save Orihime, because she's been on the other side before, and
right, so she knows how much like. Orihime must want to be rescued, because she too. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That was good.
I do really like the dynamic. Like, there hasn't been much to it yet beyond these kind of little moments, but I do kind of like the dynamic between Orihime and Rukia, and I kind of hope that there'll be a little more to that as this arc goes along, or even just in the future of Bleach.
Yeah, well, it's like, I don't know, I just wanted to mention that, like, of course, the Rukia part is the best part, at least so far, because Rukia is the best. I mean, I think she's still my favorite character, and now I have more reason to think so. But yeah, so anyway, Ulquiorra gets in a fight with Ichigo after, Ichigo resolves to save everyone, and they fight. Oh yeah, and Ulquiorra also fucking destroys him. Like, what? What'd you think of the moment where Ichigo's like, "Oh, you're the leader, right? So if I beat you," and Ulquiorra's like, he uses his sword to cut open his chest and shows that he's only number 4, and it's like, oh.
I did, that maybe. I mean, like, I didn't have a problem with him only being number 4, but just thinking of, like, how some of these things have been laid out in, not just in Bleach, but just in these stories as a whole, but I think Bleach has also done a pretty good job at it. Like, with Soul Society, the first person who showed up was, it was obviously Renji and Byakuya, and then that arc kind of concludes with the Ichigo-Byakuya fight, even though, you've got all the stuff with Aizen going on. And Ulquiorra and I think, what was it, Yami or whoever the other one was, they were the first two to show up, so
it makes sense like for Ulquiorra to be Ichigo's final antagonist. Yeah, I think. Well, the question is Aizen, though, so which would also be fitting with Soul Society, because they both have, like, I mean, because you could say Aizen was the final antagonist to Soul Society, he just didn't get beaten, so I don't know. Well, but then again, I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this arc, so maybe Aizen won't. Maybe Aizen will fight someone else. Like, there's Yamamoto. So there's other.
It's not really about, like, being the final antagonist is the thing that I'm.
No, I think I know what you're saying. He's the first one to show up who's powerful, so he's going to fight Ichigo towards the end, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, so like, because obviously there's still 3 ranks ahead of him, so I don't know if are those other 3 like maybe they'll fight, because there are characters who are stronger than Ichigo, so I'm wondering, are they
Right.
gonna fight them, or are they like, are we not even gonna really get to see what they can do until kind of like the end of this? Because like we in Soul Society we had like we had Gin and Aizen obviously getting set up, but they didn't really get a fight to really show off in the Soul Society, so it's possible that maybe those top 3 Arrancars will kind of get the same sort of treatment where they show up, maybe more so towards the end, and
Yeah, well, because now that you mention it, this is like this could be the final arc. We know it's not, but the way it's going, it could, like, because Soul Society set up Aizen, and it set up the whole Gyoku, and that was basically it. And then the next arc introduced the Vizards. So as long as all of those things get closure, then it could be the final arc, but of course we know it's not. So the question is like, what happens next? So,
and then plus you have the whole thing where Aizen, I'm jumping ahead. Never mind.
All right, yeah, let's just keep going for now because Ulquiorra.
I'll get back to that thought when we get to the moment.
Well, because one thing I just realized is that Ulquiorra beat Ichigo without doing his transformation release, so he's not even trying. Yet he still destroyed Ichigo. So my question is, like, how is Ichigo going to win? Like, I mean, Ichigo's been doing some fighting, so it's not like he's at 100%. But it's also...
I guess that was also partially my concern with how some of the fights have played out so far, because, like, Ichigo going up against the first guy, he destroyed him when he used his hollow mask, and he only had it for, like, a moment, so it's obvious that he wasn't going, like, all out against that lower tier, but like even having to use his Bankai, it's perhaps a little concerning, maybe just because I know Bleach's track record of partway through an arc we gotta have a training arc in the middle, so I'm like, Ichigo's already looking kind of vulnerable. I'm not,
because he does his big attack and it doesn't even touch Ulquiorra, like.
He catches it with his hands or whatever. But
there's like a big cloud of dust, and Nell's like, "Oh God, Ichigo, I'm glad you're okay. Everything's fine. Let's go." And then Ulquiorra's like, "Excuse me, bitch. What did you just say?" And like he's perfectly fine. Like he's maybe a little. His clothes are a little. I don't know if his clothes are naturally that messy or he's not touched. That's the point. It's like.
Well, he did like catch the blast, and he was like, "Oh, I had to use both hands." And I think he had a comment like. He didn't fully stop it, but like it didn't really deal any damage. It ruffled up his clothes a bit, but that was it.
He's unhurt by Ichigo's strongest known attack without having transformed into his other stage. So it's like, goddamn. So yeah, we'll see how that's handled in the future. But did you have anything more? There's more to say on that later, but we'll come back to that in a bit. But I don't know. Because there's a few things happening. Because Renji's still fighting. Grant's 2 random Arrancar come to fuck up Orihime's day for I forget why.
I don't know. There was a little interaction with like them and Aizen and Orihime earlier with like when the whole Gyoku thing happened. So I guess they're like jealous. I don't know what
like they were just
the deal is
like,
there.
It reminded me of when Yachiro like headbutted Orihime for no reason. Like everyone's just jealous of her for some reason. Like,
well, I mean, this would have a little more, like, I guess, justification, because, like, it seems like she's kind of getting this special treatment from Aizen. Like, he seemingly handpicked her to be kind of abducted, and, like, he's interested in her powers and whatnot, so...
Yeah, and she's a human, they're Arrancar, and she, so... Okay, yeah, but, anyway, but as she's getting the shit beat out of her, Grimmjow comes in and just fucks up everyone's day. Because it's fucking Grimmjow. But before we go back to them, before they leave, Orihime heals up the 2 girls, and I guess gets them to question what they were thinking. But as that's happening, Grant's Ishida comes in to save Renji, and they both end up fighting Grant's, and they really don't stand a chance because he's like, once he analyzes an ability, he's more resilient to it or even immune to it, so he's kind of fucking broken. I guess remember if I had anything to say about the fight. What was that? What's up?
Well, I don't like. This was a fight that I didn't particularly care for. Like, I guess I just didn't really. I mean, like, I guess the point of this fight is to put into perspective like where these characters are in relation to all these different Espadas, because this is only the 8th so he's still relatively, low on the totem pole. He's still relatively weak, but I don't know. Like, I guess I didn't really beyond that. I didn't really. There wasn't really much of like a character moment for either Renji or Ishida. And I don't know, this fight just kind of, like, it was obviously like a fight to kind of cut back to, but it felt like it went on for...
Well, I've just thought about it. Because remember, they've met before, because I was just thinking like, oh, well, these two characters haven't really met before. But then I realized they did, because they fought as Rukia was getting kidnapped. Renji destroyed Ishida when he was weakened, so now they're not only over that, but they're actually kind of like bonding. Like there were some character interactions I liked. Like I was like,
wait, when did the Renji Ishida fight happen?
It was brief. It was more or less a fight and more Renji kicking Ishida's ass because remember he sensed the Soul Reapers as they were taking Rukia. Like this is first arc.
Oh yeah. That's right. That did happen.
Yeah, it was like he was still wounded since it was right after the.
Yeah, I was getting confused with the Tosen thing where he took him out. I was like, is that what you're referring to? But no, it was at the very beginning of Soul Society.
Yeah, at the very end of the Substitute Soul Reaper arc. Yes. But shit, you made me lose my train. Oh yeah, well, because there was a couple character interactions I liked, like when Ishida said that Renji, you remind me of Ichigo, and he's like, I don't take that as a compliment, and Ishida's like, it wasn't supposed to be one, and it's like, it's just stuff like that, and then
there are little interesting like character interactions sprinkled in there, but I don't know. I guess it just wasn't enough to keep me interested in the action.
I understand, but because it's like everything they did, Grant was just like, I'm fine now. And he just kind of like, he gets bored and leaves. Like, you guys ruined my clothes, I'm just gonna go. Well, because they like do this big old team up tech, and, Renji lures him into Ishida's trap, and Grant's just heals up and he's like, I'm leaving. And it's like, oh, okay. That was a thing. So, we'll come back to it later, I suppose. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, they fought for a bit. It was fun. I think I preferred it to, like, Chad's fight, but, there were things I
liked about it, because you did get kind of a 2-on-1 fight, which
that was rare.
Can be more interesting I won't say most of the time, but, for Bleach, which has a lot of one-on-one fights, it was something different.
Right.
But I don't know. It's also just the nature of this fight, or not this fight, but just the nature of this stretch of the arc. It felt very, very Sasuke Retrieval-esque, but like the worst parts of Sasuke Retrieval, where it's just fight after fight after fight, and it seems to go only, I forget how many chapters the Sasuke Retrieval arc was. I think in total might have been like 60 or 70.
It was a decent length, but this stretch of chapters was longer.
Yeah, and so it's not necessarily that the fight is as bad as I'm making it out to be, but it's just mixed in with all the other fights that just happen one after another after another after another. It's just, I'll be a little what's the word? A little less, like, even if there's like little details in there that can separate it from the rest, it's still a lot of fights in a row. It's a little taxing.
So anyway, after that happens, Grimjo shows up with Orihime. Like he succeeded in their goal of rescuing Orihime, kind of, because he's fucking Grimjo. He just wants as we find out, he wants to be king. He wants to be the strongest, basically. And so he got Orihime so she could heal up Ichigo, so they could fight, pretty much.
I did kind of like that where Orihime is like, I'm not going to heal Ichigo just so you can kill him, and then Grimjo's just like, well, would you rather I kill him now or kill him later?
Yeah, so it's like Orihime is trying to have some say in the situation, but like she's not going to just let Ichigo die. Like if she heals him, he'll have a chance. That's the thing. But so she was just being silly, and then
I guess it is perhaps a little disappointing for Orihime in this arc, because she just doesn't have much agency. She's just kind of getting pulled around, because I mean, what really can she do? And even like the one thing which kind of seemed like it was her decision just turned out to be part of Aizen's plan. Yeah,
I'm hoping there's a payoff, but we'll see what happens. But Ulquiorra comes back, and Grimjo reveals that that the Espadas are carried. I mean, it makes sense that they carry like an anti-Arrancar thing to deal with like weaklings, and he happened to use it on. Might have been nice to see it before, maybe maybe with the fucking the former Espada from the early part of the arc when they were getting taken by those guys who were killing them. Like if maybe during one of those moments they could have established that this thing that the Espadas have. So then when we see it, like, Grimjo use it, it's like, oh yeah, the Espadas have that. We knew about that. Instead of it coming out of nowhere. Like, I don't mind it coming out of nowhere. I'm just trying to think of, like, ways that that kind of thing can be... Because it happens pretty often with Kubo. So I'm just trying to think of ways it could have...
And it would have given those earlier moments at least a little something extra.
Yeah. Well, because, like, I've actually, like, minded it less with Kubo overall than I have in some of the worst aspects of it in Naruto. Like, Itachi pulling out Susanoo, which was, like, never... Like, as if the Sharingan doesn't have enough fucking abilities already. You know, like, this thing, it's a new thing. It's not connected to other things, so it's not as grating when it shows up as the Sharingan being able to do another thing all of a sudden, which happens so fucking often. So that, like... So it's like they're repetitive in different ways, basically. In this, it's Kubo just using the same idea again and again in different circumstances, but with Naruto and the Sharingan, it was just this one ability that kept getting new things added onto it, which I found more annoying than this. So, just a brief comparison. But yeah, Grimjo gets Ulquiorra out of the way. Orihime heals everyone up. I like fucking Ichigo's like, heal Grimjo too. And Grimjo's like, I don't want your pity. And then Ichigo's like, oh, so... no, I want you to be healed so that you won't have an excuse for when you lose. And it's like, and they're... Well, because Grimjo said something interesting about how he, like, Ichigo seemed more glad to be able to fight Grimjo than he was glad that Orihime was safe, or something like that. And I thought that was interesting. Well, because even later on, while they're fighting, someone's commenting on how, like, if it's because he's using his holification, and it feels like two hollows are fighting each other. And so, well, and that reminded me of in Soul Society when Ichigo was remarked on as being captain level. So he's always similar to those he fights, and that's interesting. I don't know why yet, but it's. I feel like there's something there because it keeps coming up. Like, for what reason? Oh yeah, and it turns out Grimjo is not a wolf but a panther. Because I thought it was wolf-like, but I was off base. I don't know. Did you have any thoughts about the Grimjo fight?
I mean, it was. I guess it was cool for what it was. Finally, I getting to that payoff with all the previous Ichigo Grimjo fights. Well, all two of them. We're finally getting that. The final showdown. But I don't know. I don't feel like. I don't usually have a lot to say about Bleach fights just because it's two guys swinging swords. And I mean, like, at least Grimjo had a little bit more here because he had his, like, hand powers.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he transformed into a panther, so he's technically using claws. It's completely different. I mean, it is a bit different.
I don't know. I guess, like, with Bleach, there's no real, like... or maybe there are, and I'm just not seeing it, but I don't really notice many, like, tactics to analyze most of the time. Or yeah. I don't even know if I want to say most of the time, but...
Ever?
Yeah, like, what's the difference between... I don't know. I don't know what I'm even trying to say anymore. But it was fine. I just don't have anything really to say about it.
Well, I guess what kind of happens in the end is I was talking about how, like, Ichigo... Grimjo sort of points out to Ichigo that he's, enjoying the fight. And Ichigo sort of gets caught up in the fight. But then Nell convinces Orihime to, cheer him on. And which sort of, I guess, makes Ichigo remember what he's there for, is sort of what I took from it. Remember that he's not there to fight, he's there to help her. And that's when Ichigo gets his shit together and actually starts, like, getting an edge over Grimjo. And then we get a bit of a flashback that sort of explains Grimjo's deal, where he was, they sort of, like, a bunch of Arrancar were like, you're the king, and he has this desire to be strongest. So, which is, he kind of has to beat that's why he's so fucking pissed about Ichigo. He has to beat everyone. So.
But then kind of like the difference between him and, say, somebody like Kenpachi is where Kenpachi would rather, continue having that ability to fight, to fight people if they're strong enough. With Grimjo, he just kind of, he has to devour them. He has to, make sure that he kills them. He has to kill whoever he goes up against. Because otherwise he's not, kind of like Gaara, he has to kill to feel alive, to validate his existence.
Well, the other thing is that, like, because there's the scene with, like, the hollows are like, we're stuck in our evolution, but you can still grow, so eat us to become stronger. So it's like you have Grimjo sort of accepting these sacrifices of his former, I guess, allies, while Ichigo is protecting his. So there's a bit of an ideological difference there, and that's kind of what Ichigo is desire to protect again, well, Grimjo doesn't have that, so Grimjo loses. I don't know. That's all I have to say on the fight. But I guess there was something interesting because Ichigo he agreed that he wanted to fight Grimjo like Grimjo wanted to fight him. But I guess the difference is that Ichigo wanted to fight him, for to protect his friends. Well, Grimjo wanted to fight Ichigo just for the pride in being stronger. So I guess that's the difference. So okay, see now I'm gonna pay attention to this idea because I was hearing it from something else. Something about how Ichigo always he sort of like everyone he fights he sort of like takes parts of their ideals into himself. So like with Grimjo pointed out that they both like to fight, and Ichigo agreed, but he sort of like twisted it. He fit it into himself a bit. So I'm gonna pay attention to that with Ichigo in the future. Oh, and maybe there's been other fights like against like Byakuya or Ikkaku or Renji. It's like I'm trying to think like did he always have that where he's sort of taking the ideals of his opponents into himself? I wonder. I don't know. I need to reread Bleach apparently. But anyway, the fight's over. Orihime is safe. Nell is safe, and then Noitora comes in. I guess which number is he? 5, 4, or no? I think he's 5.
Yeah, he was 5.
Yeah,
and we did get a little bit. The guy who took out Chad earlier. That was this guy.
Yes. And then as this is happening, he's like, "Oh hey, Renji, Ishida, I'm back." And I guess we're getting into the final set of fights. It feels like. This was a bit of I guess the second half of the Ishida Renji versus Grant's fight. There was one dumb moment because he makes the clones, and then after fighting the clones for a bit, Ishida's like, "I realized that our clones have cross marks over their eyes," and I'm like, "That was obvious. Why are you treating it like it's this fucking reveal?" Like, what? I don't know if you had a reaction like that.
Well, I feel like they did kind of poke fun at it then, because with the other one, it's like the clones of this Arrancar are wearing pants.
Yeah, after a bit. But the first couple felt like they were supposed to be like interesting observations, and I'm just like, normally I don't like notice it myself first because it's normally not that obvious. But anyway, I don't remember if there. As that's going on, Ichigo is fighting Noitora. He's weakened, so he's not doing too well. But then we learn about Nell, her whole deal, and how she was a former Espada, and she transforms into a lady. She gets her memories back, and her friends who knew that she was a former Espada stop playing dumb. Wait, so she's former. Because she was so I guess there's a current number 3, and she's the old number 3. So I don't know who the current number 3 is though. But yeah, did you have any thoughts about the fight between her and Noitora? Because it doesn't. I guess now I think about it, the Sasuke retrieval comparison becomes really apt when the Soul Reapers show up, because it's like pure. It's exactly how it happened with the Shikamaru with the Sand Ninjas in the Sasuke retrieval arc, where they're struggling. So Nell's fighting Noitora, and then Kenpachi comes in, and then Ishida and Renji are fighting, and Kurasuchi comes in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, with the Nell reveal, I guess I don't really care. I don't really care, because it's just like, if we want to talk about Sasuke retrieval comparison, well, actually that's different. I won't say that Nell is Kimimaro. Nell's not nearly that bad, but because she was there the whole since really the start of this section, and I mean, the reveal is fine.
Well, and she's an ally too, so
it connects to Noitora to learn a little bit more about him, so it's fine. But it's just I'm repeating myself again, which I tend to do with Bleach, but it's just because the problems are so repetitive, or not. I won't say problems, but my issues with it are so repetitive. Because it's just another excuse to have another fight. But even then, it's a fight that it's just there to kind of stall for time until Kenpachi can get there. Because it's I feel like I don't know if I want to just go ahead and say that you can just cut Nell from the arc and really change nothing. I mean, obviously, the tone would change, but she's there to kind of flesh out Noitora's backstory more. But I feel like you could, because then you have to rewrite the backstory for Noitora to make it different. But she's just her fight so it's not doesn't really do anything, because she fights him and it's it looks like she's gonna win, but then she transforms back because I don't know, she just transforms back. And then we gotta have Kenpachi show up to get the real fight.
Well, of course, it's fucking Kenpachi. Yeah, so I like how you put it with how the focus, it's on Noitora, not Nell, per se. So.
Yeah. So it's like it's not all bad. It's not like when Kimimaro just showed up like halfway through the arc just so we could have another antagonist in there to keep people busy, and I hate Kimimaro. But I wouldn't say that I hate Nell. It's again adding on to the battle fatigue where it's just is fight after fight after fight. Like just looking at Ichigo alone, he fought whatever it was called, the Mach Espada.
Him, yes.
He fought Don Kanonji, and then directly after that went into the fight with was that when Ulquiorra showed up, I think? And then, they had a little scuffle before that. Yeah, I feel like there was a fight before that too, but it's like Ichigo went from one fight directly to another, directly to Ulquiorra, or Ulquiorra was the second, to then being healed, going directly into a fight with Grimjo, and then directly after that,
Noitora.
Yes, Noitora showed up, and Ichigo fought for like a tiny bit. It's just, it's a lot. It's like, at least with the Sasuke retrieval arc, it was all characters would, like, each individual character was getting their own fight, and they would kind of get their one fight to have their big character moment. Right. And that was kind of it. Whereas with Bleach, because these characters can be so durable and can just be basically healed at the drop of a hat, and can so like the fights can, it's like Kubo has structured his story so that it can just be endless fights. Like it just goes and goes and goes. And if that continues, I mean, I'll probably still be complaining about it like I am now, but I let it be known now that I just don't. I'm not interested in that. Like, if there some of the fights do have character moments attached to it, so it's not like every fight is bad. It's just that I'm having a harder time appreciating the positives of each little thing. Like, each little positive aspect that kind of differentiates the fights kind of get a little lost in the shuffle when there's so many.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Because even like to just compare it to Naruto, I can't really think of many instances where a character would go from one fight directly into another, and like that wasn't, like, typically that wasn't possible, except like maybe in the war arc. I definitely think it happened there, because
it was pretty much constant fighting, though there was shenanigans going on there. So but yeah, like I got like anyway, I'll just drop it. Okay. Because I know I'm gonna end up ranting about it again later. So I'll just let it go. Yeah. So Grants was also fighting Renji and Ishida, and I literally don't remember a thing about it, even though I just skimmed through it. Except that
I know there was the whole organ.
Yeah, that was kind of because Grants is a fucking monster, so that was kind of neat, and he had his transformed state, but But more interesting was, because you get the Soul Reaper showing up. Kenpachi comes in after Nell fails to save Ichigo, and fucking Noritora's second in command, I guess, goes after Kenpachi, and Noitora is like, oh fuck, no, dude, stop, and the dude gets instantly, because that's fucking Kenpachi. It's fucking Kenpachi.
Yeah, I love how Kenpachi goes up against Noritora's second in command, just one slice, down they go, next.
Like, it's like, you're getting tired of the fights, like, why have an extended fight when you could just fucking destroy him, because it's Kenpachi. Oh, man. And then, of course, everyone else shows up, including, especially Byakuya and Kurosuchi, who Byakuya goes in to save Rukia, who is about to get taken out by Zomari, and Kurosuchi comes in to save, he happens to save Renji and Ishida.
I think you can tell, like, how invested, like, air quotes around invested I was at this point in the story when I had my big, like, oh my god moment when Hanataro showed up. Like, that was the character I was like, oh my god, yes. Like, not the fighters, not Byakuya, not Kurosuchi. It was Hanataro that got me. That was like, oh my god, yes. Thank you, Kubo.
I personally couldn't get over fucking Kurosuchi's fucking hair. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
his hair before was weird too, but now it looks like ram horns, kind of. So maybe it's kind of, it's just, oh man. Got some more teleports for you.
I'll have to link you this video that one of my patrons sent me in the Discord, where it's just like a little bit in the anime.
I think I just answered a curious quick cat question with someone linking me the same video. Probably the same person, I bet. Where they're
probably
where it's Byakuya and Zomari, right? And they do the teleports behind you into the deserts of Hueco Mundo, right?
Yes, and it's just they just do it back and forth over and over and over.
Yeah, exactly. And they just fucking dip. It's just yeah.
and Gin is just there, just watching. Where are you guys going?
They're like those two and Yoriichi are like the three characters who do it the most. So like of course, but it's like because they're fighting and then Zomari teleports behind Byakuya twice, and then later in the fight he teleports behind him for the end of the fight, and it's like. Fucking Byakuya. Like, if there's a character who teleports the most, it's a toss-up between him and Ichigo. So yeah, I'm trying to think of if I had anything else to say about the fight, except for, I like the moment where, Byakuya, like, predicted that he could split into, 3 people, but it turns out he can actually do 5. So, well, I mean, I like the Byakuya moment, the Zomari one-upsmanship, not as much, but, because, I don't know, I like characters predicting that someone's going to teleport behind them. You know, like, because that's what happened to Ichigo before. Remember? When Byakuya teleported and Ichigo's like, no, at the, in Soul Society. So, this is similar, but it was a fake out. But then...
I really liked the one panel where Byakuya had teleported behind the guy, but then also the guy had already teleported behind him. So, like, you still have kind of like the after image and also... the character and Byakuya is just in the middle, but like they're all like 3 solid shapes. It was cool.
Yeah.
Good way to really convey that speed.
I also like how Zomari's power, Amor, was handled, because like he can control the limbs, and Byakuya like would instantly ensure that the limb was unusable just to limit him, and then then how the fight ended with him using his Bankai, and he's like, oh, how many eyes do you have? Like 60? Not enough.
No.
Like Byakuya was like the perfect counter, basically.
And you kind of had a similar moment like that earlier with Ishida and the arrows, I forget which fight it was in.
Against the girl, I think, right? Or no, no.
So it's like you have your however many. Yeah, it was against the girl because she had the wings or whatever. It's like they rotate however many times, but my arrows or I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the girl. I don't remember, but
maybe it was that one. It sounds familiar, but yeah. But it's like, well, because Byakuya's Bankai was already established, it was just about him using it at just the right time.
Yeah. It also was kind of interesting that, you know, Byakuya would like slice at his limbs, so like you can't use this, but then, you know, he went after Rukia, and it's like you gonna slice that? You gonna
right,
although but that was what set Byakuya off. Although his final word was that like he said you attacked my pride or whatever. So I don't know how that connects to Rukia, but we'll see, I guess.
Well, he's kind of the big sibling to her.
Then again, I guess is he the head of the Kuchiki family? So
he's an important figure within it, but I don't remember if he's the head or not.
But basically, like, you go after one of my own. You're basically going after me.
That kind of thing. Well, because I like how it's like he's here, but he's not here as a Soul Reaper, and that the Rukia thing kind of drove that home, because especially because this is Byakuya we're talking about, where before he was putting his duties as a Soul Reaper above all else, but now he's after Soul Society, he's kind of like, he knows what's important to him now and is acting on that, and that's sort of like, he wins when Rukia is in danger. So yeah, it was cool. Like these, I think I like this part of the arc better because these fights were better. Like I'm just trying to think, and it's like Byakuya's fight was fine. Like... Kurasuchi's fight was good. Kenpachi. It's like, yeah. Why didn't these guys show up earlier? This is good.
Yeah, because like I didn't even like with the Byakuya fight. I don't know. I guess like the finish of it I didn't really care for. Just because like the guy like he got stabbed with all the blades and then he's like, I'm still alive. You didn't, and it was like just die already.
That made sense.
Like there were at least like character progression or like moments attached to the fighting. So even if I'm not going to remember exactly how the fight went down, I'll remember Byakuya, how his ideals have shifted since the Soul Society arc.
Right, and how he was so willing to injure himself to stop his opponent. And then,
Yeah.
and of course, how can you fucking Kurosuchi and Grant having the fucking science battle where, like, he's like he's pretending to be injured to fuck with Grant's, basically. Like, Grant's broke an organ and Kurosuchi spit blood, and he's just like, I'm kidding. Like, Kurosuchi's such a fucking dick. Oh my god.
Although it was a little weird, like, you know, it's obviously, it's fiction, suspension of disbelief, so it's not too bad, but, like, you know, that Renji and Ishida had, like, all their organs crushed, but they're still over there kind of, like, having their goofy little reactions. It's like, okay, I'm calling attention to it now, so it still caught my attention, but, yeah, it's not a huge deal, I guess. Still a little, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and like, yeah, they just kind of keep going at each other with their various abilities. And the way Kurosuchi wins is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, this was like one of very few spoilers that I knew ahead of time about Bleach. Was that the one guy gets, because I remember Digigro had mentioned it in a video.
Okay, yeah, he gets stabbed for 100 years, and it's just fucking like, well, because it's
it wasn't just 100 years. It was.
Or wait.
Like, what was it? Every 1 second was akin to, like, 100 years, so...
Oh, and he's talking for... Oh, shit. Well, because it's like, there's, so visuals of him being older. Like, you cut to the reality, and he's still the same age. But you get these little, like, interpanels of him being super old, and he's just like...
How long has it been? Decades?
Like...
No. It's been longer than decades. Like, when will this blade finally reach my heart? It's like, oh, God. Kurosuchi, why?
Well, and of course, he also drives home the ideological victory where how, you know, perfection is the death of science. So he's like, well, if you're a scientist and you think you're perfect, then you've already lost. So, but also, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, I thought that was was like the only interesting thing about that, the Espada's character was just like the way and like the way he was defeated, but also like the ideological thing. But other than that, I just did not care for that character at all, or the fights with Ishida and Renji. But it at least had a good ending with Kurosuchi coming in and being, you know, he might be on our hero's side, but he's still not.
He's fucking terrifying. He's like
I'd have to imagine that's like, I highly doubt that Bleach like tops that as far as like. Yeah, like most brutal deaths. Like that's pretty hard to beat.
Well, it's like because there's been gory moments before, like when Okiara killed those 2 Soul Reapers, but this is like it's terrifying. It's not like brutal on a like physical level. It's brutal on a mental level, and that's why it's horrifying. Because like especially the panel where you see the sword poking his heart, and it's just like he had that sword gently poking his heart for decades. And then slowly going in, like, millimeter by millimeter, like a millimeter a fucking year, basically, if that. And it's just like, Oh god, and if his heart beats, then that means it's like,
I almost wonder if that's like, I don't know if I'd say that's like, it feels a little too much for Bleach, because I don't know, it doesn't feel out of place.
Well, that's the thing. It's mostly in the imagination of the audience. That's like there's like thinking, like that's why I say it's like mentally rather than physical. Because with physical, it's like there's not a lot of blood. There's you get a sword poking a heart and a few panels of him looking really old. But most of it is just like thinking about it yourself, letting your it's like it gets worse the older you are because you're more able to imagine it. Like a kid would be like, oh okay, but an adult would be like, oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like out of tone for Bleach, but it definitely is a it's not a moment that you'd easily forget. Like I don't know, it's one of the like standout. I wouldn't say it's like one of the most defining moments of Bleach, but like it has like you're not easily gonna forget that.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, no, you don't forget. And of course, it's between Kurosuchi and Grant, so it's like these are two of the fucking like these are two of the most fucked up characters in the series. So of course, their fight would end in a really fucked up way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And then anyway, then we get I guess if we're done with that one, we get Kenpachi versus Noitora. And I knew I was wrong shortly after, because I said that, Kenpachi's actually left-handed.
You weren't like entirely wrong though. Like the whole idea with hands was kind of accurate.
I knew it. I kind of misinterpreted what I'd heard, I suppose. But he uses both hands instead of just one hand. Like he's actually good with kendo style, but he's just been digging around with a sword, using one-handing his sword because he's fucking Kenpachi.
I like that part where he says, "Did you know that if you use two hands on a sword that it becomes stronger?" And then Noitori's like, "Well, of course it is, you idiot."
Yeah, he's like using but he's using like basic sword knowledge as if it's like this grand reveal, because for Kenpachi it really fucking is. Like, cause that's the thing, is Noitora has this fucking like invincible armor, and Kenpachi is just like, it's not that invincible. Oh, Kenpachi's so good. And he's just like, Kenpachi's just having so much fun. He makes just the happiest, like, it reminds me a little of Madara, Uchiha, now I think about it, but even happier. Like, Kenpachi's just having the time of his life, like, with the laughter and the big old smiles. Kenpachi's a good boy. He just wants to fight.
Kenpachi is a good character design for fights, because, like, that is his characterization, is how he fights. So, like, there you get a lot of, like, I don't know if there's really much interesting for Kenpachi outside of, like, I don't want to say how he battles, but, like, how battling affects his character. So, like, you get there were just a lot of cool little moments happening in this fight, like when Kenpachi gets, like, knocked down by Noitora, and Noritora's like, well, I guess he's dead, so I gotta go after you guys next, and then Kenpachi gets up and slices off an arm, and he's like, oh, I was just thinking about, how am I gonna be able to get past your arms, and I figured out that I couldn't, so I'll just slice them off one by one. And then Yachiru is like, well, no, you can't cut off all his arms, because then he won't be able to fight. And he's like, that's right. Okay, I'll leave you with one.
Kenpachi. Well, because it's like you say, there's not much to him outside of fights, but that's also kind of the point. Like, that's all he cares about. He just wants to fight. He wants good fights. So
another sort of, like, interesting moment reveal thing was the whole, like, what's underneath the eye patch. So, like, he cuts through... Kenpachi, like, slices through Noitora's head, but it's actually the hole in, like, the hollow part. So Kenpachi afterwards is like, well, if I couldn't cut you, then that'd be kind of boring. There'd be no reason to fight you, but, at least I know that I can cut you. Yeah, so it's interesting to think that, like, if Kenpachi couldn't, then he just would have given up, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's interesting when you, like, yeah, there's no, he's not stupid. Like, he wouldn't say, like, if he was fighting a figure, he is a ghost. But if he was fighting someone intangible, like, he'd probably just give up if he couldn't find a way to hit them, because it's like, whatever. He's not, he knows when to quit, in a way, I suppose. He just never been in a situation where he needed to. So, generally,
and also, like, with Kenpachi, it's kind of, I wonder, like, what other kind of fights he's going to have in the series, because considering here, there's a point where he says, like, oh, if I keep going forward the way that I am now, I will die, and that's when he gets serious, but then he basically destroys Noitora in one blow, so it's like, I could see Kubo writing a fight in a way that, like, if Kenpachi realizes right off the bat that, like, oh, this is a super serious opponent, then will he go all out from the get-go, and, like, I feel like there's still room for Kenpachi to be a lot, like, also putting into perspective, like, this was the fifth, the number 5, so
yeah, and he just fucking destroys him, like, and I mean, and because his sword is still dull, he still hasn't used Shikai or Bankai, like, and he still just destroys this dude.
So it does kind of make me wonder, even? Like, if Kenpachi went up against, I don't know, like an Aizen or an Ichimaru, like, the top tier people that we're going up against so far, like, like, there's an interesting potential conflict with his character, like, he doesn't always get serious right off the bat, so maybe that could be his undoing.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with Ichigo. That's what happened with
what
Ichigo,
will cause him to flip that switch? Like, hey, okay, I gotta be serious from the beginning, so I can
Yachiru, if she was ever in danger, he would go ballistic, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, because we did see that, because that was also partially why he got up and went after Noitora, because Noitora was going to go after Yachiru, and...
nope, can't have that. Well, yeah, and the other thing about the fight is, like, well, because you were mentioning earlier about how he doesn't want to die. Like, he's not suicidal. He's not like trying to throw his life away. He just wants a cool fight. But Noitora did want to die. He wanted to die in battle. So in a way, they both won. Kenpachi got a fight, and Noitora died in battle. So like Noitora in a way couldn't win because he got what if what he wants is to ultimately lose, then he fights, but he doesn't. I don't know. He fights because he wants to die. It's weird.
Although I'm not entirely sure because maybe I wasn't looking into the panels enough, but I know you got the little flashback about him. Just more about why he does what he does, and he said, well, like if I'm gonna die, I want to die fighting, and I want to die before I hit the ground. But like after he got struck down by Kenpachi, like he was already on. I think he was already on his knees, and I was trying to look like to see based on how he was drawn, like if he was already dead when he was on the ground, or if he was like still alive and then died after he had hit the ground. So like to kind of see, did he ultimately get what he wanted, or was there like a level of he failed?
Well, because look, because it's hard to say, because there's one panel of there's Nell sleeping. She opens her eyes and says his name, and then his eye, like it was wide open, and then it narrows a bit, and then he falls down. Then it cuts to the next panel. There's a brief flashback in the next chapter, and he's on the ground with his eye it's open still, which is normal for the dead. Like it's not like your eyes close when you die, but
like was it like whited out, like to say that like
it wasn't whited out like anime knocked out. It's so
or no, I'm thinking like white out like there's no people or anything, like when someone's like in like anime or manga, like when someone is dead, like their eyes usually like lose that color, or there's something to say. Like when Ichigo got stabbed by Okiura, like you could see in his face that like Ichigo is probably gonna be dead soon.
Well, I don't equate it to death because in One Piece, Oda uses it a lot for unconsciousness. With the you can't see the people, the eye is just white and it's open. But in this case, you can. Yeah. So but in this case, the eye is the pupil is still very much there. So, I mean, see, as far as, like, character, I feel like this should be a death just because of how it was set up. Because maybe not should be a death, but it's like, he wanted to die, and he appears to have died and gotten what he wanted. So if he comes back, it needs to be addressed that he didn't get, because again, this is Bleach. But so if he comes back, it needs to be addressed that he didn't get what he wanted from his fight. Because, he doesn't want to fight the same person twice, or to come at him, to beat him twice, so, I don't know. He seems pretty dead to me. But I can't tell 100%, so... But then what fucking happens right after that is one of the Espada comes in, takes Orihime, like, immediately, and Aizen's like, oh, sup, I missed you. Like, Aizen could have ended the whole situation at any time.
Yeah.
Aizen's a fucking dick. Because he pretty much immediately says, like, oh, we're done. You guys are stuck. I don't need... I'm just gonna go. Like again, I feel like his plan was pretty simple, considering. Like, the question is, like, did he really need to lose? I mean, he doesn't seem to care that he lost so many of his men, but, I don't know, I guess we'll see how it unfolds in the next arc, but, or the next part of the, arc. But, what a fucking place to end at, because, we find out that he wants to turn Soul Society, or, turn Karakura into the key, but the Soul Reapers moved Karakura Town, so they're fighting in a fake Karakura Town, and...
But even then, Aizen can still kind of get what he wants, because he says, okay, if I defeat you all here, then there's nothing to stop me from taking over the Soul Society.
Right, so because he could use that for the key instead, so... Or even just Karakura Town, too, but it's like, yeah. So, I guess we'll find out next time, but we're not done with the discussion yet, because we get a flashback to like 100 years ago,
so I'd imagine that these, because like they were released in like a full volume, so I'd imagine that these came out kind of like the Kakashi Gaiden, that like they came out in place of, well, I don't want to say in place of Bleach, because it is Bleach, but like
these I'm pretty sure it came out in the magazine weekly normally, like, because I'm pretty sure with Kakashi Gaiden, they were just published, serialized in the magazine over the course of like however long. And I imagine it was the same for this arc.
Although it is interesting, because like I could note how many chapters I've read, but like technically they're right in the middle of two chapters. So
yeah. Right, it says, like, we both have, it says that we've read 315, but actually we've read like 324, or so it's okay. But yeah, so we finally get some questions answered that I've been wondering for a while since Shinji showed up. Pretty much, I was like, where did these guys come from? I figured we'd get the question answered later, and here it is. They were former Soul Reapers 100 years ago. Like, Shinji's a captain, and fucking Hiyori is not.
That was an interesting reveal, though. Just like when you open up that volume and you're going into, see what is this? Turn back the clock. What's this all about? And then boom, Shinji, captain. Whoa,
long hair, really long hair.
See, I almost feel like maybe I'm just nitpicking this, which I probably am. But it's almost like because like he had kind of like the bowl cut design before, and I almost feel like. It's like, how do we distinguish past Shinji from current Shinji? Just give him longer hair.
There's a bit of that, yeah. But, I mean, I feel like the Soul Reaper robes would have been enough, but I don't mind it, but yeah, I get it. it's a pretty drastic change.
Yeah.
Though I also thought about it for some reason, and there's the one Vizard who wears, like, the school uniform, the one with the glasses, and I realized, like, wait, she's a soul... She just likes school uniforms, I guess. Because she's actually like 100 years old. She doesn't go to school. It's not like Rukia and the other Soul Reapers who were in disguise. She just does it because she likes it. I'm like, interesting. Okay, that's something. But anyway, so yeah, they're indoctrinating a new captain, Urahara, and Aizen's there.
But at this time, he's Shinji's assistant captain.
Right, because he hasn't been promoted yet. And then, also we found out that there's a Zeroth company, the Royal Guard, who we haven't seen yet in the actual present timeline. So, and I just thought about it, because I guess they protect the Soul King, or the leader, so... But I guess they don't protect the Counts of 46, because Aizen fucked them up.
Yeah, so I guess when the Soul Society got invaded before, they were off protecting... Yeah,
whatever the Soul King is. Well, they're like a family that's never been seen or something like that. So I don't know, but
and never mentioned beforehand. So just kind of thinking like, why would they not have been mentioned beforehand? Like thinking of like that would make sense. Like if they're off doing something else, and that would be why I guess they don't get involved in the whole invasion of the Soul Society thing because they have other priorities.
Well, and I'm guessing that priority is to protect. Well, I feel like if Aizen gets his key, then they'll become relevant because he'll be endangering the royal family, and thus the Royal Guard will come into focus. So yeah, they get mentioned. Like that's the thing is we're getting a bunch of world building and seeing all these characters. So like we learned about what the Vizard's deal is. So it'll probably become relevant in the future arcs. So and we finally get to figure out why Urahara got banished from Soul Society, because we knew he had, we just didn't know why. But yeah, Urahara gets his promotion. He is a dork. Oh yeah, and there was a bit where Aizen was like eavesdropping, and Shinji like breaks his illusion. So I'm like, was that his Bankai or his Shikai? Probably Shikai, because he's not a captain, and captains usually can't do. Or you need if you can do Bankai, you usually have to be a captain. With some exceptions like Rukia and Ikkaku. But oh yeah, we also see Urahara build the science division. Like he breaks Kurasuchi out of the prison kind of place, or he doesn't break him out, but he gets him out. Yeah. So I guess it makes sense that Urahara made the research and development division because he's fucking. Oh yeah, we also see fucking younger Byakuya, who's like a completely different character. Like, that was fucking weird.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering what you'd think of that, given, like, what you had said about Gar before. I was wondering. Although, like, with Byakuya, like, it's not, like, the same, like, with Gar, it did kind of feel like a 180, like, he goes from the murdering monster to, oh, he's a cute kid.
Well, but it's not just the 180, it's like, with Gar, the 180 was there to make me feel really bad for him, and I just wasn't on board for that level of manipulation. I mean, all fiction is manipulation, but in that case, it was just like, yeah, okay. In this case,
it felt like it was just in service of the moment. Like it just existed for that.
Right. For that, it was to make me feel bad about Gaara. For this, see, I'm wondering like why did Byakuya change? But it's not like to make me feel bad about Byakuya's change. It's just like there's, maybe his responsibility, his sense of like him coming into, he had to sort of like cool his jets. And this one, he's a kid too, so he grew up. But it's also still like quite a change because I would, just because he feels like an anime protagonist at this age, but he didn't. He didn't stay this way. It was really weird. Yeah. Not bad, just shocking. Oh, and I guess, he's interacting with Yoriichi here, and she's fucking with him. Like, she teleports behind him, and, she's, like, teleporting behind him and doing things before he even notices. Like, so he's so far below her that he's not able to notice react as quickly when she teleports. Because she undoes his hair, ponytail. I don't know, it's fun. Fun interactions. Because that's the thing. It's like a chill. This is like, it's not like pure levity because, there's some stuff that happens, but it's like a bit of a breather between like all the fighting of Hueco Mundo and no doubt all the fighting of the next segment in the fake Karakura town. So, it's a welcome reprieve. I think.
Yeah, this was definitely, I think, perhaps the most, I don't know if I want to say it was the most interesting part of the stretch of chapters, but it was interesting to get, all the details on, what is up with Shinji and his crew and that sort of thing. But also, it is just thinking that, like, this is the part where, like, they kind of, we did take a break from all the fighting and we stopped and actually had some just talking, just some, like, world building details and stuff, which I have felt as though, with all the fights that have been happening in Bleach so far, like there hasn't been enough of this. Like, even though there are some stories, like perhaps Naruto sometimes does a little too much talking with some of the things it sets up, but I feel like Bleach hasn't had enough of that, if that makes sense. Like, because like in this stretch of chapters, most of it was just kind of fighting, but here we stop and there wasn't really a lot of fighting happening in this flashback. It was just kind of setting up details that will obviously be relevant in the next stretch.
Right, and answering some long-standing questions that, I feel like Urahara, his deal needed to be accounted. Like, the most important stuff, some of the most important stuff was accounted for, that this arc set out to accomplish. Like, introducing Tiny Gin. That was the most important thing that could have happened. Holy fucking shit, what is wrong with this kid?
Babby Gin was good.
He's so small, but also he's like a murdered guy.
But also we knew that Gin was working under Aizen, but here you kind of see that this was sort of his upbringing, that Aizen kind of handpicked Gin from this young age, so it's almost like Gin was sort of like he didn't. I don't know. Like, Gin's been with Aizen for so long, it makes you kind of question, like, does he know anything beyond sort of these tendencies that we obviously know that he has in the main series?
Right.
At least I think that's what's being set up here.
So yeah. Anyway, there's a bit of a crisis situation when the Soul Reapers are getting wrecked, and then they fight one of the Soul Reaper captains who's got like some machinery or something on him. But yeah, during the fighting, pretty much everyone, Tosin and Aizen reveal themselves to Urahara, and all the future Vizards get hollowified, and Urahara sort of enacts his plan, I guess, where he uses the Hogyoku to keep them from turning into hollows and basically making them into Vizards. But I guess before we get into that, there was a popularity poll. And sure enough, Hitsugaya is in first place by quite a bit. Orukia is in second place, thank God, presumably because she's actually done things now, and she did get a good fight. So it's like, yes.
It is interesting that Ichigo dropped down to third, because I think there was like a poll like that in Naruto where Naruto was probably below like Kakashi and Sasuke.
I believe there was at least one moment like that. Yes, though he did. Naruto brought it back. I don't think Ichigo's going to.
Yeah.
Maybe up to second, but I don't think he's going to be in first again. I think Hitsugaya has... Like, let's put it this way. Hitsugaya hasn't done anything.
Yeah,
he has not been
like,
here this entire stretch. He showed up in like 315, I think. He was there with all the captains defending fake Kamakura town. But other than that, he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, because like the last time he actually did anything was right around another popularity poll. So like it's basically been an entire cycle since the last one. Hitsugai has done nothing, and he has a pretty at least like almost 300 votes over Rukia for first.
Right, and again, I don't bemoan his popularity, especially when like I like Yachiru for basically being a cute girl, so I don't disagree with people. Like, I'm not gonna criticize fans for liking Hitsugaya for basically being a cute boy, but it's just like if this is where he is after not doing anything, imagine how much higher he's gonna get when he actually does do something, right? Like that's my stance.
Yeah, I kind of don't get it, because like even though, you know, granted you talk about you potentially being guilty of that with Yachiru.
Well,
for me,
and
it's
I
like
point out
Gin
you with
is
Gin,
mostly,
yes.
Yeah,
so,
Gin's mostly a character design to me, but I don't know. I guess.
And Deidara, you put Deidara above Sasuke pretty much for his character design. You have no fucking room to talk, okay?
Although now that I think that like I've had a little more time that has passed since then, I think I might have lied, although I didn't know it was a lie at the time. But I think I might actually switch Gaara and Deidara's places. But
okay,
Deidara's
Gaara at number 1 then?
Yeah.
Or
yes, so Gaara would be ahead of Sasuke. But,
okay, interesting.
I
At
can't
least
really
he's actually
explain
a character.
why yet.
I think I can guess, but I won't say anything.
Yeah, but like I don't know because like I feel I guess with Bleach I could maybe see myself giving Gin my number 1 character just because I'm not.
Well, especially if he ever actually does something, that'd be nice.
Well, yeah. Like right now, I don't know. I'm not confident that he'd be number 1 just because Rukia is an actual character at this point.
Yeah, especially now that she's actually gotten like real fights and stuff, and there were good fights too. Like, yeah, that's nice.
So like even though like I'm pretty invested in Gin and I was pretty invested in Deidara, mainly just from an aesthetic standpoint, it's kind of amazing that Hitsugaya would be number 1. I mean, like there's a little bit to his character, but it's not quite like. I mean, Kakashi and Sasuke had cool designs, especially Kakashi, but like there was a character. I don't want to say that there's not a character behind Hitsugaya, but we haven't really had much of a chance to explore that yet. For the most part, it's not like Kakashi, who was, you know, Kakashi was like the main. He was like the benchmark for like the whole who's who in the narrative, and Sasuke, of course, was the main rival. Whereas Hitsugaya is not even. He really is just a supporting character, but. Obviously, something connected with people. Maybe it is just the design, but I feel like there's got to be a little something in there. Like he does have a little bit of a story to him, but it is just amazing that he is so far and above everyone else.
Right. I mean, because when you put it like that, it is pretty unusual because like at least like main characters not being the most popular, like that happens. Like again with Naruto, but at least like you said, Kakashi and Sasuke have reasons to be above Naruto. With Hitsugaya, it's like it's weird that so many people are liking him for an aesthetic reason. So yeah,
because even thinking back to Naruto, like there were points where like Deidara was up, sort of in I think maybe even the top 5, like after that first arc he was introduced, but like never that high. And even like with Gin, like Gin has been on here too, mainly just probably because he looks cool, but never that high. So it's interesting that Hitsugaya seems to be.
Gin is still 12th, so.
Yeah, so he's still on there. But yeah, you got Grimmjow at 4, Ishida at 5. It was interesting that Izuru was 9th when I had to like do a double take to remember who he was for a second. But
that's a good. Who was he?
He was Gin's.
Oh no, he was. No.
Yeah, Gin's subordinate. He was the assistant captain.
Yes, well, because Momo got 6th, and I'm just like.
They're all tied to Hitsugaya. You got Momo, who is Hitsugaya's friend. You got
Izuru, who fought Momo.
Yeah, Izuru was Momo's friend, so they're also kind of tangentially connected to Hitsugaya. Whereas
watch whatever Arrancar Hitsugaya's fight is going to be top 10. It doesn't matter who it is, but they're going to be top 10 because Hitsugaya fought them.
I don't remember what was the name of Hitsugaya's second in command.
Was it not Momo? No, Momo was 5th.
Rangiku?
No,
Matsumoto. That's right. She's 21, so she's not that high. But, I mean, also 21 out of everybody else.
Oh, wait, Hitsugaya did... Well, there was one of those extra chapters that was focused on Hitsugaya. that we didn't talk about because I usually skip them.
Oh yeah. That was there too. I forgot was that in the stretch of chapters. Was it last time?
That was this. I'm pretty sure that was this stretch of chapters. It was one of the earlier volumes at the end. Of this set. So I remember because I just skipped through it.
I did read it, and it was interesting. Getting stuff with like him and Momo and his grandmother that like he stayed back to watch over her, but his powers were like. So I guess because Matsumoto like finds him and he doesn't realize, I guess, that he's got the powers, but he's like slowly killing his grandmother because like in his dreams he has like his ice powers go off, so like he has to learn to control them. But I don't know, there wasn't a whole lot to dig into there. So like even if you skipped it, I can kind of like understand. There wasn't. It's not like with there was another little like side chapter way back, I think, in Soul Society that was kind of. It showed a bunch of characters doing stuff. But because there was so many characters being showcased, there was kind of like, even if there wasn't a whole lot of depth to it, there was stuff to dig into there. I don't know, Hitsugai wasn't a whole lot, even though it was focused on him.
I mean, I shouldn't skip those sections, but I just know we're not going to talk about them. So maybe, I don't know, in that way I suppose the Nen Show is hindering my reading of Bleach, because I'm not reading it the same way I would if I was reading it myself.
Well, like, I know even for me, like, I know, like, the bonus chapters I'll typically read, but, like, the little end of chapter little skits that Kubo puts in there, even if I was reading this casually, I wouldn't read those, because, like, I get so exhausted, like, going through the fight after fight that happens, so, like, then I'll throw in these little gag things that are disconnected from everything that's happening, I'm like, this is just gonna make me more irritated, I can't read this. Especially like in the Soul Society, there was like the section focused on Kon doing weird antics that like I would see the images for it. I'm like, I'm not gonna read this. I don't care about Kon. But yeah, Renji dropped down to 11, which was interesting. But then again, I guess Renji hasn't done a whole lot, but Renji was pretty popular in the last 2 or 3 polls that popped up.
Renji has been doing. He's been in like 2 fights.
Oh well, I guess grunts, to me he hasn't been doing much because those weren't good fights. So.
Okay, that doesn't. Mathwiz.
So I'm wrong. That just makes it even more bizarre that he's all the way down there.
Yeah. Colin is at 40th place after being in 4th before. How did that happen? He's the best character.
Well, what is this Soul Candy King? What's that?
I think it's from the fucking the little inter-page stuff.
Oh.
The stuff you were just talking about, the little stuff that happened in between chapters.
Oh, the stuff that I wasn't reading. Okay.
Yeah. I'm guessing, because I don't think it has to do with the actual Soul King, so.
Okay.
I'm just reading the fucking, the 1 or 2 votes, like, the chocolate Nana tried to give Shinsui. The dried persimmon that Gin gave, Rangiku.
2 votes for, Sosuke Aizen, the chair that Sosuke Aizen sits in.
Isshin Kurosaki's legendary chopsticks. Wait, who? Kurosaki funeral service. Oh my god. Oh, the little hollow in the desert, the lizard one, I think. Got a vote. These are always fun.
I see that Mizuido, how do I pronounce that? Mizuido, either way, Kojima, whatever. The one, the boy from Ichigo's class, he's in 16th, even though he hasn't been anywhere.
Oh, you're... Yeah.
So you never know. Maybe it is the design, the character design. That's all that does it.
That's okay. The erotic god that made Matsumoto and Orihime's breasts bigger. Like that was a vote. Someone voted for that. Why? Oh god.
You get 1 vote for the popularity poll. What are we gonna use it on? That.
Right.
Why?
Rukia's way of life. Rukia faking her identity. Like, what? Oh, man. Anyway, I'm done.
No.
So we're almost done with Turn Back the Pendulum. Aizen shows up, and...
Although, I am curious, because now I just stumbled over Kurosuchi's name. He's 48th, but I'd imagine this was, like, opened right before he had his big, frightening... So I'm curious to see if he
Or maybe everyone
jumps.
hates him because he's ugly.
So I'm curious to see if now that he's had that moment, if he'll get a spike in votes for the next one. But anyways, back to
Turn Back the Pendulum. Aizen shows up, and Oh wait, well he talks about how Shinji didn't lost or failed to notice Aizen because he didn't trust him, and like if he had been paying more attention, he would have noticed that, or paying less attention, he might have caught the weirdness. But
yeah, I did think that was interesting that like the way Aizen phrased it, like your distrust of me blinded you. So like Shinji knew that Aizen was a baddie, but because he knew, he didn't really know. Like he didn't catch on to Aizen's trickery.
Right, to exactly the level of Aizen's scheming.
Or I suppose, as it's phrased in the manga, Aizen's treachery, which is a name of a track on the Bleach soundtrack, and it's a good one. That was related to nothing, but I had to shoehorn it in there.
Okay, well, because you told me that you were spoiled on something from an image someone used on one of the Bleach soundtracks.
Yeah. I haven't talked about it at all, but I think I did, because I'm not going to say what I was spoiled on, obviously. But I think I did see a little moment that maybe could kind of hint towards it a little bit. Like, when you read through it, like, it just seems like an interaction that happens. But I'm wondering if, like, maybe was that supposed to be a little hint, which I'm not going to describe what it was yet. But when we get to the moment...
Because we probably haven't... Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is, like, when we get to the moment, I'm curious as to what it was. Because you said you were devastated, was it? Or it hit you, like, you're like, oh no. So, and I'm curious as to what it was. Because I might already know, that's the thing. But some of the readers or the listeners might not know. So, but also take that as a warning if you're going to go listen to some of the Bleach soundtrack. Maybe don't watch the video, just listen to it.
Also, I don't want to actually like say spoilers outright because I've done that in actual videos I've made before and been wrong. So maybe it's just a cool fan art image and it's not a real spoiler, which seems unlikely. But hey, I've been wrong before, and I'm not gonna burn myself again.
People do use fan art for that kind of thing. So, but yeah, Aizen fucks everyone over. Urahara saves the Vizards with the Hogyoku.
Hogyoku.
And then Urahara fucking tells them. He fucking tells the Council of 46 that Aizen is the bad guy, and they don't listen to him. So I guess it just goes to show how fucked Soul Society was, and like how Aizen of course Aizen was able to fucking easily manipulate everything. Like they're just so fucking sure of themselves and what they think that they don't take this alternate perspective at all, and they all die. All these guys die.
Yeah.
Aizen kills them all. It was their fault. They deserve it. No, they don't. Maybe not deserve it, but
weird because you did get the little interaction where, like, I guess the fake Aizen was roaming around the place, and what's the guy? The guy with like rose petals and I don't know, like the samurai looking guy. He saw him. He's like, I guess Aizen's a little bent out of shape.
Yeah.
So like that was why. Yeah, that was why they condemned Urahara, because, like, no, it wasn't Aizen, because he was in the place. He was there. He didn't leave. But that...
Yep.
They were all fooled.
It's not like Bankais don't exist or anything. Like, Aizen tricked them.
Although, I almost kind of wonder... Like, I forget if there was a little... I feel like the way that the one captain looked, the samurai guy, whose name I can't remember... I feel like he kind of had a weird look, almost like he maybe suspected that wasn't the real Aizen, but I don't know. Maybe that wasn't actually true. Because I was going to say maybe if there's like a fight that happens later, like if he confronts Aizen on something, he might be like, oh, I might have noticed, but I didn't, and I was wrong, and I will avenge myself now. Or maybe I just misread it. Although...
I don't know, we'll see what happens, because this is, we learned some things, but I also feel like it's like preparing for what's to come, because now we Kubo went out of his way to give us this flashback, and like you can even compare it to Kakashi Gaiden, and Kakashi Gaiden turned out to be really fucking important, as it introduced one of the final antagonists, so it's so I'm curious as to see how this will become important.
Oh, I know how this will become important, because as I was looking up Bleach anime fights to see how the anime did things, I ran across another spoiler. And I was like, how do these two characters, like, why are they fighting? Why do they... But now I know, because this set it up, but I won't say what it was.
But it ends with the Vizards you know, they Urahara had given them a prediction and turned out to be correct, so they're like, let's go. So they're going to be involved. So we're going to get Vizards and Soul Reapers versus Aizen and the rest of the Arrancars. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of fighting next time. Hope you're fucking ready, Mathwiz.
Although maybe it'll be more interesting because these are actually interesting characters. Although even then, there's still some like spare Arrancars flying around, so it's probably going to be some not so interesting fights in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know, seeing the Soul Reapers again, I like those fights. That there was more interesting stuff. Like I guess like the best fights in this stretch of chapters were Ichigo versus Grimmjow, and then the Soul Reaper fights at the end. And it's like, other than that, it was like,
Part of the benefit, at least, of like Soul Society also kind of following this trapping or not trapping, but because obviously there it was for a purpose, like having all the Soul Reapers get their fights, and I wasn't super into it back then, but at least like now they're here and they're gonna get fights, so like we at least know what their powers are, or at least to an extent.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like now that we know the character, them showing up is like Kurasuchi. Like imagine if he never got a fight against Ishida. Like that even informs some of the things. Like he put surveillance magic in Ishida, so he was able to watch the grants and so make the adequate preparations. You know, stuff like that. So Kubo's able to sort of like bring back what he's already set up in some ways. So I don't know. I'm curious as to see how the arc will end, and also what will happen after. Because again, this could be the final arc. Like the way it's set up, like. If this was the last arc, I would have been like, okay, yeah, sure.
So like if we were reading it while it was being published, we might think that Bleach was coming to an end possibly soon. Kind of like when people were reading like Dragon Ball and they were getting to pre-time skip Raditz stuff, and they were you had the big tournament, and it's like, oh, is this going to be the end of the series? But obviously reading it like after the fact, after everything's been concluded, we know where the series ends. Like we obviously know it doesn't end here, but.
Well, yeah, and it's actually kind of interesting when you think about that in comparison to, like, Hunter x Hunter, or maybe even Naruto, where it's like, I'm trying to think, like, when was there a moment in Naruto where you actually would have thought that? I can't think of one. Like, Akatsuki Suppression, no, there's obviously more of the series to go. Even Sasuke versus Itachi, it's like, this is this big final-sounding thing, but then it turns out to be this massive twist. And like obviously there's going to be more after that. So
see, I know that when Eye Patch Wolf made his video about the highs and lows of Naruto, he had said that like after the Pain arc, it seemed like Naruto, like Sasuke had fulfilled his goal of fighting Itachi, and Naruto had fulfilled his goal of being accepted by the village. So the natural conclusion, the natural point you'd reach was for them to fight, and that it just kind of felt like the series dragged to get to that point. But obviously. We've read Naruto, and we don't agree with that. But like I could kind of like that's I think the closest example I can think of with Naruto. Like, not that the series could have potentially ended at this one point, but that it felt like the series kind of I don't know.
I mean, I could go more into that, but that's like a whole other topic. But I guess what I would say is that they both had some more growing to do before they actually fought. So
yeah.
And
I'm thinking like Hunter x Hunter. Anyway, I don't think Hunter x Hunter ever had a point yet.
Well, because it's like there's still like the biggest thing is the Phantom Troop. Like even like York knew was a conflict, and then it ended, and that hasn't really come up again. Like, and it's like obviously the series can't, like even though Gon met his dad, like the series obviously can't end with this Phantom Troop stuff being unresolved. So that obviously needs to end. So it's like obviously the story has, and of course One Piece can't end until they find the one like. So it's Bleach is a little different like that, I suppose. Like it's more like Dragon Ball in that way, which is interestingly, it's interesting when I put it like that. Like Bleach in this one way, Bleach is more like Dragon Ball than One Piece ever was. So even though,
On the topic of Dragon Ball, that just made me think, because I was just thinking about like different ways that people talk about power scaling and whatnot, and I'm just thinking like using like arbitrary numbers to kind of display a hierarchy. Bleach does that because you got like the not so much in the Soul Society with the captains, although you do have like the ranks of like captain, assistant captain, but that's not really a problem. But with like even the Espadas, you've got them numbered, so it's obviously like, oh, the number 3 is going to be better than the number 4.
It's like with the Soul Society, it's not like the or what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna let you continue.
Well, because I was gonna say like with the Espadas, they're ranked based on power, but even then, it's like, oh well, Nell was a form, like there's former Spada. And, I mean, they don't really have, that's the thing, is they, like with Naruto, like they all have different powers and abilities that play off each other in different ways.
Yeah.
So there's more to a fight than just battle strength. But then with Bleach, it's like, they do have abilities sometimes, but they're, like you said, there's not actually a tactical element, really. Like, it's more about the ideals, though. Like with Dragon Ball, the fights are basically about strength rather than technique or ideal. Like who gets the power up last. But with Bleach, it's more about like who uses their abilities last and the ideals of it. So
yeah, so like there is a little like Bleach kind of taking after Dragon Ball a bit, which I mean everything that's come out, I won't, maybe not everything, but most things that have come after Dragon Ball would have taken after it. But like it's putting a different enough spin on it so far, at least. Although maybe that's also partially why the fights like against the lower tier guys weren't as interesting, because like, oh, they're struggling against the number 8, so how would they have fared against the number 4 or something? But
yeah, no, I get what you mean. And we'll see how, well, because I feel like the fighting is going to focus, like, Yamamoto. He's, like, presumably one of the strongest Soul Reapers, so who is he going to fight? Because that's the thing, it's like, I feel like everyone's going to get a fight.
Ah!
I don't know, I'm interested to see what happens for better or worse, but we've got 100 chapters to read next time. We're reading from 316, after Turn Back the Pendulum, to 423. That's over 100 chapters. That is like 10 volumes. Oh boy. Don't read it all in one day. Don't make the mistake I did.
Yeah, if it's gonna be like this last stretch, which I mean, like so far I've been reading basically everything for the Nen Show in one day, so that I'll have to not do that for Bleach.
At least not. I mean, Fullbringer probably would be fine because it's shorter. But for this stretch of chapters and the 2 stretches for the war,
yeah.
We should be careful about our reading of it. Like, and well, the audience even has a big advantage because we're busy with other stuff. Like, we could read it 1 volume a day in theory, but we're also busy with other stuff, so it's easier for me to just read it all in one go, like, right before we talk about it, because then it's fresher in my mind, even though I still have to, like, skim through it just to make sure I remember what the fuck was happening.
Yeah, but even then, like, I've found that, like, when I read it all in one shot, like, if something gets set up at the beginning of the stretch of chapters, I'm more likely to notice it at the end, because, like, all of it's fresh in my mind.
Right.
Although, depending on how invested I'm in the story will obviously mean, like, that will define, like, if there are certain details I missed. Because, like, if I'm super invested into an arc, then I'm going to notice every little detail and I'm going to be able to bring it all up. Whereas if I'm not at all invested in an arc, I'll probably miss more.
Yeah, right. So
maybe, but anyway, I don't know. Maybe that's why I've been a little harsher on this stretch of chapters than I mean, I've always been a little harsh on Bleach since we started, but I feel like this was more so me at my peak. I don't know if I'd say peak. Maybe it gets worse, but eh.
I don't know. Well, it's like, I didn't enjoy this stretch of chapters as much as the last stretch, but it was still fine for the most part. But again, I do want to see the rest of the arc, because we're almost done, you could say. So anyway, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.